Guys, Debuchy, the YouTube's N'Golo Kante. Now, Arsenal have just beaten West Ham 1-0 in the Carabao Cup into the semi-finals. Good on us. Yeah, we might as well review the players. Well, that was a very kind of boring game, wasn't it? And that's me being nice about it. I mean, they're them sort of games that really question if you love football, man. I was falling asleep. But yeah, man, let's start with the keeper. I'm in a bit of a generous mood today, so I'm going to give Ospina a 10. I mean, 10 by default. He kept a clean sheet. Second half, a couple crosses came in and you dealt with them that were a bit nervy. You had nothing to do. You had no saves to really make. So, but yeah, the fact is you kept a clean sheet. The fact is you dealt with what you needed to be dealt with, and we're through. And it is a knockout cup competition, so I do need to keep that in context. Like, I know it wasn't the best of games, and we made a lot of changes. And don't get me wrong, we won 1-0, but it was not a convincing win. But yeah, 10 for Ospina by default. Callum Chambers, I'm giving him a 7, man. Very good game. He's trying to get into the side. He was on the bench for the last Premier League fixture. He didn't come on. He went from playing all them games at Middlesbrough. Personally, I think he should go out on loan in January if we're not going to play him and these injuries and these things continue, because he went and made 20-odd appearances last year. How many he's made in the Prem so far? He's been injured a couple of times, but you get my point. Very good game, bringing it out the back, making tackles, spraying it. All these things, he was moving wavy. The same goes for it, so he gets a 7. I got so excited I tried to move on before it was my time. He was decent. 8th minute, that cross, before I move on, the 8th minute or something like that, Chambers won the ball back. He brought it from the back. He carried it into midfield and he hit one lovely crossfield pass to the left-hand side. That's the sort of stuff Chambers got in his locker, and he finally looks like the Jefferson Montero wounds are healing. Shout out to you, Chambers. Yeah. My excitement almost took me to Holding. I'm going to give him a 7 as well. I was going to give him a 6.5 because I felt Chambers was just a better one. But I'm going to give him a 7. Tidied up very well. One criticism, giving away silly fouls at times, but he tidied up very well. Like Chambers, you sprayed the ball well. And yeah, man, I know Wenger said he sees Monreal as a centre-half more than he sees him as a left-back. And with the switch to back four, if you guys want me to speak about this in the video, I will. But with the switch to the back four, you've got to wonder how many games, how many people can play. Because if he says he considers Monreal a thingy option, a midfield, a centre half option, that's Monreal, that's Mustafi, that's Koscielny, that's who else am I missing, guys? I'm missing out quite a few. That's Bielik, that's Chambers, that's Holding, and I'm so sure I'm missing out a centre half. And if I'm not Wenger, we need to sign one. That's 7 man already. And yeah, there's a case for me saying that I've been saying we need to sign one. So that's 8 for 2 spaces. Someone needs to go out on loan or something needs to happen, right? But we're going off topic there. Sorry about that, guys, man. Holding 7, like I said. Kola, I'm going to give him a 6.5. I can't be giving everybody a 7. It's a bit OTT. But he offered the outlet. He put in a lovely cross for Walcott. So Walcott should have given him an assist. And he almost scored with his right foot. Now I say almost. It was always going wide. But it was a lovely driving run. No coincidence when he plays the joy that we have in the first half, or our saturation of passes and things, are on the left-hand side. So yeah. I'll give him a 6.5, like I said. Who else am I getting on to? I'm almost forgetting people. Coquelin, one of his better games in an Arsenal shirt. Like, I know it's it's the Carling Cup, but it's still a cup competition. Still playing the Premier League side. Every so often he starts spraying these mad balls. Where does he get these passes from? Like, he gets them out of his locker. He was spraying lovely passes today. He was tackling. A shame he come off with a hamstring, which appeared like a 5-year hamstring. Hopefully he's not out too long now. I say that lightly. But he was definitely one of the better players on the team sheet today. Definitely. So, and he was involved in the first as well. It was a lovely move through the whole team from the left-hand side to the right. But he sprayed the ball. Debuchy kept it alive, and eventually it fell to Welb. So, a 7 for him. Oh, and then I give him a 6. He covered a lot of ground. He put in a couple tackles. His passing needs to improve. Not even that he has bad passing. It's just like someone is telling him, you can't pass the ball forward or we're going to take 50% of your wages. Like, just pass the ball forward. Like, just pass the ball forward. The less said on that, the better. 6 out of 10 for Onene. I'll give Wells a 7, and he was going to get a 6, but at the end of the day, a man scored, and it could have went to extra time and everything there, and it's not. So, yeah. He had a better second half for sure. He had a better second half. Wells, he was linking up better and stuff like that. Another day, he probably scores a couple scrappy finish, but at the end of the day, he's a striker and he's following in. Credit where it's due. 7 out of 10 for Wells. Giroud, 4 out of 10. I wasn't impressed. Now he's injured as well. Like Coquelin, it's a real annoyance now because he's our go-to sub guy when we're in trouble or we just need to bring people off the bench. Weren't impressed. The ball weren't sticking. First half, especially the first 20, the front 4, front 3, whatever you want to call it, there was no nothing was sticking, nothing was happening. Like, I just felt Giroud had a poor game. There's not much more to be said. If you watch that game, you agree with me. 4 out of 10 for Giroud. Next man as well, easy peasy. 4 out of 10 for Theo Walcott. He's like he's trying on purpose to be bad. Like, fourth minute and 20th minute, like I said in the post-game review, what are you doing? What kind of crossing's that? The ball's breaking down. Debuchy's defending 2 versus 1. You have the cheat to wear the captain's armband and you're putting in performances like that. Like, you haven't started a Premier League game this year. I mean, that's not me having a dig, but you haven't started a Premier League game this year. It's a World Cup year. You scored 19 last year, and your contract's not up, but it needs to realistically be renewed within the next 18 months or less than that, because it ends in 2019. You can't put in performances like that, whether it's Carabao Cup or Champions League. I know we're not in it, but to reiterate the point, you can't behave like that. 4 out of 10. Like, maybe going back to number 32 will do bits for you, Car. That number 14, you're disrespecting it, Theo, man. I always say this, but you're sloppy. So yeah, Debuchy 7. I give Debuchy 7. I do think people are going OTT with his performance today, but because he did have some shaky moments, gave away needless fouls like holding, but his crossing was decent. He put in a couple good balls. He made a couple good tackles. He got forward. He offered an outlet at times. When he tired, he knew to just stay back. He just, unlike some other Arsenal players, just play your position, just stay back and defend. He did that very well. He stuck to his task. Like I said, he's defending 2 versus 1 at times because Theo's not on it. It's not going to be easy for anyone. He was involved in the first. Ultimately, he kept it alive. And yeah, man, you got to actually wonder, credit where it's due, bar a couple in the Europa League, which he's had a shocker. Why has he not been on the bench? Technically, he can play centre-half and right-back. Wenger said he's more a centre-half. So, yeah, man, credit where it's due for a man. 7 out of 10. Joe Willock, lastly, I'll give him a 6 out of 10. I like how he played in the second half. I tweeted it. I said he needs to play with more bravery because he has it in his locker. And you saw in the 72nd minute when he done that amazing little run. Yeah, I just felt in the first half he played a bit too safe, a bit too back into danger, and I don't say danger, let me say congested areas, when I've seen him at youth level turn out and ping it or link up well. But he did very well today. I'm a big fan of Joe Willock, man. When he develops a bit more physically and gets older and a bit more experience, he could be a fantastic player, whether that's at Arsenal or somewhere else. I really do like him. 6 out of 10, man. I just felt he could have been a bit braver, but he did a couple good passes. He got into the thick of it. He's not the biggest, but he's not scared to be up for a physical challenge. And I know it's a tough arcs breaking in an Arsenal first team or any top side first team, let alone the midfield. Whereas I don't want to compliment it because it is crap, but collectively, but there's a lot of bodies, and for a young 18-year-old, we know the dynamics. I don't need to get into them, but so far so good. I do feel he could have put a better account of himself, considering the chance he has. And you see a Maitland-Niles and a Wobie and all these other guys in the first team. So yeah, 6 out of 10. He could do much better, but he played very well for me. So yeah. Bad note, I didn't say it in the post game as well, but I really wanted to see Jeff today, man. Sadly, there's no point me giving the likes of Nelson, Chief, and De Silva ratings because they weren't on the pitch long enough, guys. But I'm happy to see them all come on the pitch, and the more youth, the better. Pochettino gets praised for all these youth players, the likes of Kyle Walker-Peters and Edwards. But when you look at their counterparts in Maitland-Niles, Nelson, Joe Willock, and all these players, they're getting mad minutes over here. People are getting minutes at United as well, in that Scott McTominay guy as well. People getting minutes in Nathan Mamadou as well. I'm just pushing a little agenda here, guys, and reiterating the point that I think Poch at times his youth is overrated. But anyways, man, guys, Deluded Guna, I'm signing out. Post game player ratings, I'm out. Thank you very much for watching. Of course, it means the world.